Okay, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining me for another officially Chen style Tai Chi class. We are going to get to our Chen style exercises in a moment. But before we do, we're going to have a wee think about blood pressure levels and kidney function. Now, everyone, it's important to keep our blood pressure stable. Of course, doctors can help with medication, with tablets. And you can do this work alongside tablets as a complement. But it's amazing actually how much we can affect and stabilize just with these exercises on their own. So if you are on tablets, just keep an eye on your blood pressure because you don't want to hugely overcorrect. But let's have a think about this. Okay, so posture is your friend. Posture is key. Strangely, or maybe not so strangely, but however we hold ourselves has an immediate and deep effect on the functioning of our body. Our posture affects our nerve function. It affects our blood pressure. It affects our mood. It affects our energy levels. It affects the switching on or switching off of our energy, whether we're, sort of waking up or whether we're going back to sleep. It affects our hormone production. It affects our body chemistry. It affects everything. Our body language is a reflection of what's going on inside us, but we can also influence what's going on inside us by body language, by changing our behavior, by changing how we hold ourselves. So one of the most obvious examples of this is if you see someone who is slumped and flopping and forward bending and sort of losing structure. Would you say to yourself that that person is happy and vibrant, or would you say that they're maybe sad or maybe exhausted and tired? It may not be all of the above, but you get a general feeling if someone is slumped. You think to yourself, well, what is that person experiencing? As opposed to someone who is waving their arms around, lifting their head, lifting their chest, bouncing about and waving, would you say that person is depressed or tired, or are they full of energy? So it could be that they are depressed and tired, and therefore they are doing this because the very act of waving your arms in the air, lifting your chest, lifting your head, gives you energy. It actually changes our body chemistry. Whereas if we were to lean forwards, even if we were overexcited and happy and bubbly, within a few minutes or even a few seconds of leaning forwards and relaxing forwards, we'll find that our energy calms down and slows down and we become more internally focused. The energy returns to center. So these are general energetic techniques that if you want more energy, do back bends. Literally lift your chest, lift your chin, open your front, close your back. And if you need to calm down, if you need to settle down, if you need to sleep, you can do a forward bend. Literally, you can go to your dining room table and put your head down on the desk. You don't need to collapse, just that action of relaxing in a forward bend. Within minutes or even less, you will find that your energy changes. Now, there's a whole school of understanding called power poses, where literally people take powerful poses because it makes them feel calm and in control, which means it raises their what's it called? Men have testosterone. It raises testosterone. Actually, men and women have testosterone. So doing a powerful pose, for example, putting your hands behind your head, leaning back, putting your feet up in the air, that raises testosterone, which is your feeling of control and power, and it lowers your cortisol levels, which are part of your fight and flight response. So by calming the fight and flight and raising testosterone, we feel really more calm and in control. let's do a few power poses now, just because we're on this topic. But it doesn't mean that that's the only state that we should court. We want to be able to guide our system into any state consciously and with awareness. So there are times when you will want to feel more insular, more calm, and guide the energy back in. So there are times where forward bends are a good idea. But let us try standing. Well, we'll say hello. Thank you for joining me. Try standing in what is called the Peter Pan or the Superwoman pose. So we stand with open stance, fist on the hips, lift your chest. And you can look around you left and right. And you will feel within seconds that feeling of power, calm, and confidence. Have you ever seen a lady opening the front door, putting her hands on her hips and screaming at her children to come in, it's time for dinner? It's a power pose. She's taking on a powerful pose which makes her feel strong and in control and able to get her kids to do what she wants. So that's the Peter Pan or the Superwoman pose. Good. The next one we're going to do is lifting your hands in the air and just holding your hands up, lifting your chin. This is another power pose. Think of people who win a race. They throw their hands up and lift their chest in celebration. You'll also see folks in the more happy clappy type churches who are really enjoying themselves. They lift their hands, they lift their chest, and they wave around. These exercises will raise your testosterone and lower your cortisol. So any of the sort of Usain Bolt type positions are going to give you that same feeling. So think in terms of what do powerful, in control and calm people do? They stand with their feet apart because it's more rooting, it's more powerful, they have strength. Whereas if you stand with your feet together, it's more meek and modest. And if you stand with your legs crossed, it's even more contracting and drawing the energy in. So there's just a few thoughts for you regarding power poses. However, we're going to talk a little bit more, if you come and sit down, we're going to talk a little bit more about blood pressure. Now, if you lift your chest and lift your chin, you're actually going to raise your blood pressure slightly. So if you have high blood pressure, I want you to focus on relaxing your chest a little bit more. You can allow your shoulders to very slightly roll forwards, and you'll feel that that has that slight contraction. It's not that you're squeezing, but it guides your energy down the front. Also, if you lower your chin very slightly, more than normal, just ever so slightly more, that has a blood pressure calming effect. Whereas if you had low blood pressure, you could lift your chin ever so slightly more than you normally would, and you would help the shoulders slightly back so that the chest is lifting a tiny little bit. So that little change in your stance, by lowering the chin slightly down and allowing the shoulders to very slightly roll forwards, just slightly, like half a centimetre, relaxing the chest down, that has a blood pressure lowering effect. Okay, so you can practice with that. Be mindful. So if you're wearing varifocals, for example, you may find yourself lifting your chin all the time to see through a particular part of the lenses, but every time you do that, you're actually raising your blood pressure slightly. It's called a postural change. So you can have postural hypertension and postural hypotension. So you can actually change your blood pressure by the position of your head and the position of your shoulders and chest. We can also affect it by the position of the hands. So in general, if you turn your palms to face up, please, and extend them forwards, breathing into your hands, feeling into your hands, you will notice that the hands feel a warmth and tingling. So when you relax your hands down to your lap with the palms facing up, they have a slightly energizing effect. Even though you could be doing a deep relaxation to the point of sleeping, the palms facing up will actually slightly raise your blood pressure. So if you turn your palms down, just float them off your lap for now and feel into your palms. Unless it's a very warm room, you may notice straight away that your palms feel cooler. So we call the palms facing up taiyang palms, which means sunshine palms, like the sun is kissing your hands, and it'll feel warm, a little bit warm and tingly. But when we turn the palms to face down, straight away we'll experience a coolness. You may also feel a tingling, but you'll feel a coolness. And that coolness signifies that the energy is being directed back to center, which in effect will help to lower and stabilize high blood pressure. So if you sit with your palms facing down, not only will you feel calm and more relaxed, maybe even at times sleepy, but you're actually lowering your blood pressure. So you see, you can actually affect your blood pressure just by the way you sit, just by the way you stand, without any other practice involved. But if you add breathing exercises, so you're just focusing and listening to your breath, you will affect a really nice balance, a change for your system. So you can do palms facing up, which is for general use very good for first thing in the morning and up to midday. Palms facing up will help the yang energy rise in your body, so it'll help the get up and go, but it could also slightly raise blood pressure. So if you have high blood pressure, I would recommend just keeping your palms down throughout the day anytime you're doing relaxation or breath work. After midday, palms facing down will help the system wind down and help towards a good night's rest and sleep. So certainly after sunset, palms facing down, so that you're not waking yourself up, but you're guiding your system into its dormant and restful state that we want for sleep. Okay, so there's just a few wee things to bear in mind. Okay, now standing practice will really help. Standing practice is our panacea. Is that the right word? I nearly said panna cotta. I'm not sure if that's the right word. Anyway, standing practice is going to be useful for everything. It will help regulate blood pressure, whether high or low. It will help calm. It will help strengthen. It will help calibrate your energy to its greatest good. So let us do a little bit of standing, a few minutes of standing, please, before we do our form. So up you get. And we're going to also have a little look at some kidney work today. Excuse me while I get rid of my chair. Good. So our kidneys help to process out our waterworks, but they're also considered to be our battery pack. So we want to look after our kidneys. So before we do our stand, let's rub our hands vigorously together. Good, then, and hold the kidneys. Bend the knees a little bit. And I want you to feel the warmth of your hands flowing into your back. Just breathe into that feeling. Good, now give your kidneys a jolly good rub. And we're talking 36 times. If you can, try and rub your kidneys 36 times every day. Let's make it this week's challenge. Rub your back 36 times every day. I wasn't counting, but I'm sure we're nearly there. So once you've done 36 times, hold your kidneys again, and you will feel the warmth of all that friction. It has stimulated the life force, and it is flowing into the kidneys. Very good. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to rub your hands, hold your back, rub your back, hold your back. And take your time and breathe. Now we want it to be comfortable. If it's uncomfortable, you can stop. Good, and relax down. And we're going to further stimulate the kidneys by taking hollow fists and very gently pummeling up and down your back. Good, and rest. So the kidneys deal with water, so we want to make sure we're getting enough fluids into our system. We also want to make sure that we have an isotonic balance, so a little bit of natural salt, not table salt, but your sea salt, your Himalayan pink salt, your Celtic salt. Very good. A couple of grains of salt for every glass of water will help with your isotonic balance and your salt levels. We do need salt in our diet, but not too much. Just a couple of grains for each glass will help. Okay, we also have to be mindful of our diet. We want to make sure that we're cleansing our system. So a little squeeze of fresh lemon in water in the morning is a very nice cleanse, which will help the water clean and the kidneys work more efficiently. And we also want to make sure that we're getting the right degree of protein in our diet. So protein is important, and yes, if we eat a little bit more protein, we maybe feel more satiated, we feel less hungry for longer, but too much protein can raise the serum creatinine in our blood levels, which makes it a little harder for the kidneys, or showing that the kidneys are not so happy. So be careful of your protein levels. We need protein every day, but we don't need an excess. And I must admit, I do eat quite high levels of protein. I'm vegetarian, so I'm very conscious of that. And I'm also quite physically active, do gentle exercise, but still exercise. And I don't want to overeat, so I do eat quite a lot of protein. So I have to be a little careful and keep an eye on my serum creatinine whenever I get blood tests done, that I have not overdone it with the protein. Okay, so let's do our standing practice, please. We bring our feet together and we float up through the top of the head. Bring the chin slightly down and back, and take a few moments to breathe and calm. Calming down. And listening behind. Good, let's release belly, hips and knees. Fill right, empty left, and step open and feed into center. So make sure the feet are shoulder width and level. Feel the crease of your leg relaxing so the knees can roll ever so slightly inwards. Good, find all 10 fingers, feeling them, breathing into them, relaxing into them. Feeling the weight of your body hanging down. And gently, slowly raise your hands. Feel for a connection between your hands and slowly lift to about the level of the solar plexus. And this will help to guide the energy into the kidneys as well. Good, so we check posture. We make sure the top of the head is floating up. But can you think as if the back of the skull is being hooked and lifted? So it should actually bring the chin slightly down and back. And this is especially important if you have high blood pressure. You don't want the chin to stick out or to lift. Bring it down and back a little bit. Allow the chest to release and relax down. So you'll feel the upper back feeling like it's drawing up, and the front of the chest feeling like it's sinking a little bit down. Feel the small of your back releases and fills as you do that. Let the arms hang, but the hands feel alive all the way to the fingertips. And we simply breathe. Listen to whatever you can feel going on in your body and let go. Listen deeply for any areas of tension. Check your face. Let your face relax. Let your jaw hang open. You can keep the mouth just almost closed. Feel into your neck. Release your neck. Feel across your shoulders, let them hang. Feel the body hanging down, tailbone towards the center of the earth. Feel your hips relax. Feeling down through the legs. Remember the knees slightly rolling inwards, allowing the energy to flow down through the crease of your leg, between body and leg, down through the legs, through the knees, into the feet, into the floor. Now, I'm wearing flares, so it might look like I'm really quite knock-kneed. I'm not really. I'm only ever so slightly rolling in. When you practice, keep letting go and feel for that silent space inside you. You can keep listening to your breath. Keep listening for that quiet space inside. Keep letting go. Beautiful, well done. Slowly lower the arms down. Again, let go and cover center. Hug your elbows gently in and breathe. Good, let's massage the belly just for a moment. Think of the energy inside the belly, swirling, the hands and the belly move together. And let's change direction. Cover center. Again, just return to that lovely stillness as you feel the warmth of your hands flowing into your center. Good job. Relax your arms down, fill the right foot and close left. Excellent. Recover and a heel tap. I doubt if you'll hear it, but there's a big pounding noise going on outside. I don't know, is it building construction or shipbuilding or something down in Belfast? But it sounds like a heartbeat. It's boom, 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 boom going on in the background. But whatever noises are going on within your, within your space or further out, allow those noises to simply flow over you as you practice. Let the sound actually flow through you and listen to the sounds around you. Of course, if there are annoying sounds that you just can't seem to integrate into your practice, then maybe you can consider relocating for your relaxation, for your stand, or doing it at another time. But in general, once you get used to this practice, pretty much any noise you'll be able to integrate it into the practice, that you're not separating yourself from your surroundings, but you're integrating. So that's Wuji. Wuji means universal oneness, that you're not trying to find a silent space, you're tapping into the silent space that's already inside. Very useful for blood pressure. It really does help. Other things that may help you for blood pressure: breathing practice, guided meditations, massage. Now, not everybody likes massage, so if it makes you go, don't touch me, then it's not for you. But if you're able to let go and enjoy it, you may find it very useful. Any soft tissue practice like the Emmett technique, Bohm technique, any therapies, basically, reflexology, you name it. If it's a therapy designed for well-being as opposed to like a beauty therapy, which may make you look more beautiful in your opinion at the end of it. I think you're gorgeous the way you are. But if it's going to be the no pain, no gain thing, then don't bother. That won't help. You know, having your legs waxed will not lower your blood pressure. But any therapy where you enjoy it and can relax into it may well help you a great deal. Just be careful though, there are certain things. For example, some people may really enjoy a sauna, but check with your physician before you go for a sauna if you do have high blood pressure, because it may be contraindicated. Also, your therapist will be able to tell you if there's a contraindication. So make sure that you fully tell any therapist what is going on with you so that they can make the appropriate decision and guide you towards appropriate therapies that will help. That will help. So there's lots that you can do. Even a nice warm bath, you know, that you don't have to necessarily spend a great deal of money. Standing practice is free. Following your breath is free. Correcting your posture is free. Yeah, there's lots that you can do. Okay. So let's have a wee look. I was thinking about form, but perhaps you'd like to do some silk reeling today, which is also very good for blood pressure issues. What do you think? If I can see, I'll ask for thumbs up for form or thumbs up for silk reeling. Which would you like today? Thumbs up for form, please. Okay, thumbs up for silk reeling. Yay! All right, silk reeling it is. Excellent. Okay, so Chen style silk reeling is excellent for general maintenance, for helping us understand the flow of energy around our body. It is the alphabet of movement, if you like, for our Tai Chi. But it's also incredibly soothing. It's like rocking a baby, and it has this effect that it's strengthening us and relaxing us at the same time, and therefore perfect for aiding blood pressure and related issues. So let's come to one side of our space, please. We'll start with silk reeling 1. We bring our feet together and we lengthen up through the top of the head. So this is the key move. Before we start, we want our posture. The top of the head floating up with the chin slightly down and back creates the perfect environment for our energy to flow in balance. So we take a few moments to breathe and calm. Finding the fingertips, gently lengthening them down. Listening behind. Now this is one we hadn't mentioned today, but listening behind you is a blood pressure balancing practice. It lowers high blood pressure. So any time when you're not actually doing anything very much, take your awareness behind you. Into the chair, into the room behind you, into the space behind you. It opens your awareness. It helps your energy to sink, which helps you to feel stabilized, calm, and grounded. And it helps lower blood pressure. So now let's release through belly, hips, and knees. I'm mirroring at the moment. I will turn in a second, but we're going to take your right hand to your waist and your left hand extending forwards to touch with the fingertips the invisible center line that's extending forwards. Look to the side and step open. And we're going to keep the weight on the right. Good. Now we turn. This is movement 3 and it's called call the waiter. I call it call the waiter, trying to get the waiter's attention over there. Movement 4, we feed across, feeling into the shoulder, into the elbow, it was quite pokey there, and unfold hands to fingertips until your hand is above your foot. Now release shoulder and hip, allow the hand to release, little finger edge, slides down, and then slide across. Back to where we started. Square to the front and turn. Movement 3. Feet across, shoulder, elbow, hands, fingertips. Movement 4. Movement 1, release the hand down. And movement 2, glide back to center. 3, call the waiter. 4, shoulder, elbow, hands, fingertips. Movement 1, release. Movement 2, center. Movement 3, call your waiter. Movement 4, shoulder, elbow, hands, fingertips. Movement 1, little finger edge releases, hand slides down. Movement 2, palm faces up. Movement 3, palm faces down. Movement 4, turning the palm so it's facing outwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The center turns, does all the work. So the hands remain alive, but the arms very relaxed. Turning of the center drives the arms to turn and lift. Untwist drives to the fingertips. Release the little fingers, turn the waist. The energy spirals back up the arm, down to waist. Feeding across brings the hand back in. Allow your shoulders to completely relax. There's no movement in the shoulders. The movement flows through the shoulders without moving the shoulders, just like the center of a seesaw. And the back remains absolutely upright at all times. We simply turn and square up, and turn and square up. Good. Now I'm going to do it with my back view. Be aware of your breath and your movement together. So the mind, the body, and the breath work as one. Good, now we're going to take it for a walk. So we're going sideways as you feed across. When you're halfway, so at the elbow, you start to step. And we keep the weight in the left as we relax down. And now as we square up, we're feeding into the right. When we're halfway, we can release and step. And we do that again. So we feed across. And when we're halfway, we've got to the elbow, we can step. And when you're halfway, we can step. Good, let's change arms. We're going to go straight into stepping. Step. Turn. Come in. Halfway, step. Halfway, come in. This time, we leave the legs alone and we just do the hands. Little finger edge releases, feed across. Thumb edge starts to turn, feed across. Little finger edge. Thumb starts to turn down. Little finger edge. Thumb. Little finger. thumb. I'm not sure if you can see me very clearly, so I'll come across. Feet across and step in. Good, relax down and a little heel tap. Good. How are you feeling? Okay, good. Are there any questions about that? No? All right. Play with your silk reeling, because there are levels of depth that you would not believe within that. Just at a beginner level, yes, it's useful, but at a beginner level, folks struggle to get all the nuances. It's just impossible to get all the nuances when you're just starting out with it. So it actually requires continuous development. We have to keep going back to it in order to get that connection. So you're turning your center, and it is like cogs in a clock. Imagine that the body is like a long set of clockwork. So if your center is turning, that creates a twining effect, a knock-on effect of turning up your body, which in turn rotates your hand. And the whole time we're doing this practice, we have this twining effect, twisting and untwisting. And funny, as the body is squaring up, the arm is actually fully twisting. And as the body is turning, the hand untwists. So there is an example of yin and yang. The body squaring up, the arm twists. That's a full-on twist, palm facing up. And then as we turn the body, the arm releases to flip over. So it's not in any kind of extreme twist, as you call the waiter. The arm is released. And then as you square up, that's when the twist gets squeezed through, a bit like squeezing toothpaste to the end. That's when the twist really kicks in, and you end up in a full twist with the thumb edge underneath. Be careful, please, not to be manipulating your thumb. It's the thumb edge which comes under fully, yeah? And release, and back to center. Throughout the silk reeling, what is happening is you're turning your center inside your hips. Now, often we'll just say, turn your waist. So that's obvious, isn't it? You're turning your waist and not moving your hips. But actually, you are turning inside your hips. You're just not turning the hips themselves. You're not doing that gross movement where you're moving the hips around. But think of it as if you had an egg cup. There's me pretending to be an egg cup, and you can't see it, what's going on. That's the inside of the cup, and that's the sort of lip of the cup. And you put your egg inside the egg cup, and if you turn the egg inside the egg cup, do you see what I'm doing? So if I do that, if I turn the egg inside the egg cup, you won't see the bit below the rim of the egg cup, but it's still turning. So you would see the bit at the rim looks like that's the equator, right? It looks like that's where the egg is turning, but actually the whole egg is turning inside the cup. And that's exactly what we're doing when we do this practice, that the hips maintain their structure. And if I put two fingers, one on my body, my index fingers on my body, and my middle fingers on the legs, so the crease is between, as I turn, one side closes and the other side opens. Do you see that? Because I'm turning inside the hips. my belly is turning, not just the front of my belly, the whole of my body is turning inside my hips. So one side contracts as the other side stretches. Now, if you do that, you will feel a twining sensation. You will feel this twisting of energy and structures inside the legs, inside the knees, inside all those structures. But the structures themselves will not be doing a visible twist. And by doing this, we are actually doing little lymph pumps. So it will help with any edema. It will help to pump away any excess fluid. It will help to strengthen the tissues and feed the tissues with energy and fresh blood flow. It's using the leg muscles, but it's not by swinging the legs around. Personally, I'm quite a clicky person, and I can feel it when my physicality is shifting. Even if you can't see it, I can feel it and I can hear it because my body starts clicking. So actually, though sometimes you may get a click, a release, just because the internal tissue is being twisted and massaged, and generally it'll feel really nice if you're doing it right. And if it starts to hurt a bit, the likelihood is you're doing a more gross external movement. I don't mean a gross movement, but a bigger movement, an external movement, and that can be an issue. So the whole time when we're doing this silk reeling, the legs are getting this gorgeous therapy, this gentle internal twisting, twining going on the whole time. But we don't want the hips to be turning, and we don't want the legs to be visibly twisting. Just, if you watch me one more time doing that, I'm turning in my center. I'm feeding across. I'm turning in my center, feeding across. So you'll see a little bit of left and right, but the rotation is happening internally. Okay, so let's do one more little round of silk reeling. So we're going to jump way ahead, practically to the other end of the silk reeling training, and we're going to do a little bit of what's called the small spiral, the internal spiral. So this is silk reeling 2. So I'd like you to go into horse stance. Remember, horse stance is a power pose. So, and we're going to place our hands just above our hips with the palms facing in. And we're going to relax the belly down. Think of going down the front and point the fingers down, and then cup the hands, point the fingers back. Think of coming underneath the body, up, turn the wrists. Think of going over the top of the waist and relaxing back to center. So if I show you that from the corner, so we go down, under, up, and over and relax down. Down, under, up, over, relax down. So the hands are rotating and the fingers are pointing the way. The energy inside the center is flowing with the hands, with the fingertips. So your energy is doing a lovely little roll. And I call this one the funky chicken. Relax and breathe. It's very good for the kidneys. All Tai Chi is really good for the kidneys because it brings the energy into the center. And when you're not doing Tai Chi, the kidneys act as your energy center. They act as your store. So they're right next to each other. And doing this exercise is good for the center, fortifying the dantian, but it will also really nourish the kidneys. Good. And a little bit of that is quite exhausting, so we only do a little bit, and then we'll do it the other way. So we turn the palms to face up, point the fingers up, so the energy is going up the front of the lower belly, turn and go down the back and underneath. So up the front, over the top, down the back and underneath. Return to center. Each time, return your hands to belly. Up, over, underneath, center. Up, over, underneath, center. Relax your back And the movement sends a ripple up through the back, through the arms, and into the hands. Roll, 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 roll. Well done. Whew. And rest. Good. Easing from your stance. Give your arms a little shake out. Good. So just breathe for a moment, please. Let your arms hang, standing nice and straight, like a puppet on a string. Let everything else become heavy and relaxed. It's my alarm. Every time my husband's in the room, when my alarm goes off, he says, "Jane and her alarms." He gets sick of it. But that's how I run my day. Okay, so we're going to lift the arms up and flop the wrists. Remember, if you lift your arms up, it's going to help drain the fluid, drain the lymph out of them. And we're going to lift off the heels and pump the lymph by doing our little bounce. And we let everything go nice and floppy, let the wrists flop about, and that's stimulating all of your meridians. So it's a very thorough little exercise. And relax down, let your arms swing. And again, just for a moment, stand, please, quiet and still. Feel any little sensations. And then gather up, cover center, hug your elbows gently in, and listen behind you. Then guiding your energy into your hands, guiding your awareness, I should say, into your hands, into your belly. And where your mind goes, your energy follows. Where your energy goes, your body, your strength follows. Feel into your center and feel your energy is stronger. Beautiful, everyone. Well done. Relax those arms down, please, and we shall salute. Shasangha, wishing you a very prosperous year of the snake, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.